My name is Walid Mukarzil.
My name's Lueda Zain. No such thing as a typical week.
I think my dream job, if I wasn't working for P&G, would be...
Welcome to Meet the Leaders. I'm Katie Mills, and I'm getting to know a little better some of the senior members of our team at P&G Northern Europe. So let's welcome my guest today.
My name is Walid Mukarzil. I run product supply for Northern Europe. And I'm wearing a white top, navy blue pants. My pronouns are he, him.
So tell me a bit about yourself. What brought you to P&G?
I joined P&G about 16 years ago. It was a bit of a fluke because I didn't work in the industry. I work in construction. But I was looking, I was looking for a role that I can do whilst I was doing my MBA. And I picked up this role in P&G. I think it was one of those lucky moments where something happens and, it sticks with you. When I joined P&G, it was at the office in Beirut, so my home country in Lebanon. And I did start in product supply, and I've been in product supply all the way through my career. My first role was doing business planning, what we know today as business planning. So I was managing supply, I was managing demand, and I was managing artworks and initiatives for fabric and home care at the beginning. And that evolved across the years.
What keeps you here?
I love working at P&G. I think the first thing, and it's going to sound like a cliche, but you're surrounded by people who are extremely intelligent, extremely driven, and who can help you learn and develop all the time. That's an amazing place to be. Having worked outside of P&G for a number of years before I started here, I can tell you it's not always the case. I think the amount of support you get from your colleagues and from your managers is exceptional. And outside of that, I think we do a lot of great things. Our products really do improve people's lives. And I think, just being part of that and being able to give back sometimes, even within a job, a corporate job, is really important. So that's why I love working here. It's just great.
What's the best thing about P&G that you would tell someone considering joining the company?
For new hires, usually, or people joining P&G, my first comment is make use of it. You really learn a lot, you develop a lot, you grow, and what you gain here, you don't get in a lot of other places. It's not just about financial reward. It's a lot about yourself, growing your, what you do and how you do it and how you think. Specifically in product supply, we are, compared to other functions, very process-driven. We always look for structural improvements, how we can get to a good place, but then maintain it. And I think how we do that is top of the line. We have, in P&G, product supply has been, for the last 8 or 9 years, considered as a master of supply chain in the Gartner ranking. It's only us and Apple who has been there that long. I think only recently some other competes have joined. So I think it's what I would tell new hires is make use of it, learn a lot, specifically when you start out, roll your sleeves and get into it, because there's really so much that you didn't know that you will find out and you will learn on the way.
Can you tell me what you've been up to this week?
Within product supply in P&G, we really bring to life the saying, there's never a dull day. Typical days, there are no typical days. We try to plan ahead. We often manage crises a lot of the time. We just go from one to another. A lot of the things that we have now are linked to the projects we have, and we are now working the execution of these plans. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. People do not realize how much effort it takes to bring a new product or a hard change, for example, to the market. There's a lot of setup required, and getting it to the shelf is a mammoth effort.
What do you do when you're not in the office?
But I don't have a lot of free time. When I do get some, I spend a lot of it with my family, my kids, my wife. And we go on adventures, we take them places. I personally enjoy some activity, some sports activities, football, for example. I like fishing. I do like music. My wife and I, we're foodies, so we like to, try new places, and that's what we do.
Learning from failure is key to future success.
Could you share an example from your career with us?
When the global pandemic first hit, we were able to ship. We shipped a lot. We shipped very well, but we could have been better. So we were not in an ideal position, I would say, to deliver the best that we could. And while we were competitive in the market, we were not the best in the market at the onset of it. Now, fast forward 12 months or 18 months after that initial peak with the pandemic, we are today able to ship more per day than we did at the onset of COVID. But now we do it without breaking a sweat. So, we learned from that difficult first wave of COVID, and we have invested in our supply chain. We've invested in our capabilities, and we are now, in a much better, much stronger position.
Having a growth mindset is critical. How would you define it, and what do you do to keep yourself in this mindset?
Growth mindset for me is delivering what is needed rather than what is possible. So again, it's a cliche, but we use it often. We sometimes try to limit ourselves. Oh, this is what we can do. This is what our system can do. And what we try to do is get beyond that. Say, okay, how can we still deliver value, whatever the context, whatever happens, even if competition is doing this or that, even if prices are going away or going up, even if there are no drivers in the industry. What do we do to still deliver the value, to still deliver the business? Because this is what's needed to win. So this is for me what growth mindset is. And to keep ourselves in this mindset, we just keep challenging ourselves. We cannot be complacent. We cannot just sit down and rest on our previous successes. We have to do better. We have to keep growing and keep developing.
If you weren't working for P&G, what would be your dream job?
Well, if I wasn't working at P&G, I'd probably be working in construction. So I graduated in civil engineering, and that's where I started my career before I joined P&G. And I loved it. I didn't have a problem with it. It's just that fate got me to P&G. So if I wasn't in P&G, I would probably be doing real estate development, something like that.
Is there one thing about the company you would like to change?
Something that I would change in the company is probably to do with inclusivity. I think we can do much more for people with disabilities, helping our colleagues to understand what it means to have a disability, be it physical or not physical. And I think, although we've started to do things, certainly we can do more. And that's one thing I personally would like to help with and invest in. I am the sponsor for the network of people with disabilities in Northern Europe, indeed. I took up this role, where I come from Lebanon, people with disabilities or disabilities in general are not kind of high on the priority of governments to help and improve the lives of such people. So, it's always really difficult knowing how to handle a situation, how to manage a situation, how to work with somebody who has a disability. That's why I took on the role. And that's why it's important for me to kind of learn, understand, and be able to impact and help.
Where do you turn to for your inspiration? Any top tips on websites, books, or podcasts?
I do listen to podcasts and for inspiration. One of them is, for example, the Smart People podcast, which I find quite interesting. My favorite authors, a couple of old ones. So, for example, Malcolm Gladwell, he's done some podcasts for P&G as well. But one of his books, The Tipping Point, was a huge inspiration for me. Something I really loved that book, and I thought it helped me a lot personally. And it's also a very easy read. Another one is a fellow Lebanese American mathematician, actually, Nassim Taleb. He wrote The Black Swan. That's a bit more heavy for a read, but really interesting. He also has Anti-Fragile and Skin in the Game. So a couple of books that are a bit heavier, but I think really, really interesting. I love numbers. I love math. So, I enjoy his style. That's where I go to.
What would you like your professional legacy to be?
What I'd love to leave behind is a capable team that's able to raise the bar all the time. I think one thing that I abhor is accepting where you are, or accepting something which is not the best standard or the highest standard. No one, no situation starts out perfect, but we can perfect it with time. And I think if there's one thing I'd like to leave, it's that it's a team that is capable to really step it up, raise the bar all the time, and just get better and better over time.
What's the most important thing you've learned over your career?
One important thing I've learned throughout the course of my career is that people will surprise you. It's not always evident to you. Everybody comes in quite energized, full of themselves sometimes because, you think you're very clever, you think you're very good. And then, sometimes this gets ahead of you. And what I've learned in P&G is that we are surrounded by amazing people. And there's always something to learn from everybody, be it, in your line or people reporting to you. There's always something to learn. The fact that you can learn from all of them has been a big moment for me.
P&G have been around for over 185 years. What do you think is the secret of the company's longevity?
I think P&G stayed around for so long and has been winning for so long because of its people. I think we really invest in developing talent. We not only hire the best, we also bring out the best in people, I think. There's always, a very strong cultural tie between the company and the people that make it up. I really think the secret to our success is our people.
So what does Force for Growth and Force for Good mean to you, and how do you bring this mission to life in your everyday work?
So being a force for good and a force for growth kind of complete each other. Because you want to do good, you want to give back to the community. You also want to be able to grow so that you can keep doing good and keep reaching out to the community. It's not only the kind of big events or big things that we do at the corporate level. It's the smaller things that we do on a day-to-day basis. I think already amongst each other as colleagues, supporting each other, specifically in the tough period we've been through, helping our organizations through mental health challenges, for example, all of these are really important. And then you go out to society and you think about all the good things you can do as a person, but also as an employee of P&G with the resources that the company offers. I think being a force for good is using these resources, using what you have at your disposal to make people's lives better, which is what P&G is all about.
Thank you for watching this episode. To watch the full series, go to pg.co.uk, or to find out more about careers at P&G, visit pgcareers.com.